Everybody, and welcome again. My name is Sichaba Mutsielwa, co-founder of Empower Men, which is part of EmpowerX. EmpowerX has also programs for youth, women, and your videos sometimes will also be muted. The views of the speakers on this platform are theirs and not those of Empowerment. We are providing just a platform for these crucial conversations to happen during the lockdown period. We'd like to thank the speakers firm for organizing the speakers that we've had. Today, just now, Joshua Maponga will give us his topic that I'll introduce later. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to have another presentation on men and the LGBTQ plus community that will be coming up at 5. Why the empowerment platform, especially during this lockdown? For us, from empowerment, is to achieve the narrative, to change the narrative from pointing a finger at men to inviting men to play their part in finding suitable solutions to the social challenge of equality. We want to equip men to rise above the stereotypes, the status quo, and become holistically great men. We want them to inspire men. We want to inspire men to fight for all the right reasons, to stand up for all the right things, and unapologetically embrace all it means to be a man. To provide an inclusive platform that challenges every person who calls themselves male, no matter their position in life, sexual preference, stature, or nature, to become active agents of change at home, at work, and the community. I'd like to thank you all who have zoomed in, having contacted our WhatsApp line of 082 088 5262, and also going to the Empowerment website, www.empowerment.co.za, to be able to get an invitation to this platform. Of course, I can never forget millions of you that are watching this being live streamed on all the digital platforms, EmpowerX, YouTube, Instagram at Empowerment, Twitter at Empowerment, Facebook at Empowerment, and the hashtag that we are using is I am Empowerment. As I mentioned, the speaker for this afternoon is Joshua Maponga. He's the founder of Farmers of Thought. The topic that he's going to be taking us through is don't allow your erection to determine your direction. Over to you, Joshua.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the least time, I thought I would be here talking to men only, but I'm glad I see a few ladies also joining us. I'm glad to become part of this conversation at a time when many men feel like we are castrated and we have been reduced to slaves and prisoners in our own houses. The time has come where I think many of us, if not all of us as men, needed to start redefining our lives and our existence and our reason for being within our own homes, within our own organizations, and within the community at large. It is embarrassing to mention at this late hour that many of us have been detached from our homes. By homes, I don't mean your house, Emakishin. I mean your home in terms of your rural area, where we come from, where our roots are, where our forefathers and our grandmothers are. In the midst of what we had come to term as primitive, it looks like what is primitive has actually become what is civilized. Because this whole corona saga has locked us up in our own houses, where we are free to play with our children, as we can no longer play with other people's children. Remember, I'm a biker. Often we say we're going outside to play with other children. But this time around, we are all locked up playing with our own children. Our conversation for this afternoon around the area of erection and direction. Of course, you can tell from the two words that have deliberately been selected that they all have to do with direction. Somewhere, when a man is fully erected, he does not pee on his shoes. He always pees distance away from his shoes. And as such, when you have an erection, the question is, which direction is your erection leading you? I'll give you a small little background so that we can be able to appreciate the conversation of this afternoon. Our hunger for fruits cannot make us eat leaves. I'll speak on 2 or 3 levels for the sake of the higher levels in learning. that when we talk about direction and erection, I'm talking about political erection. I'm talking about economic erection. I'm talking about community erection. I'm talking about religious erections. By erection, I simply want to define that which can make a man forget everything else that is around him and he wants to get what he wants. There's nothing as complicated as talking to a man who has an erect penis between his legs. Often, if you catch a man in that position, it's the most embarrassing of it all, because you don't know what to do, whether to tell the monster to keep quiet quickly and fold back to his position, or to continue with the assignment that you had intended to carry forward. But surely an erection almost places a man in another league, in another space of thinking altogether, where we must agree, first of all, that we have brains that are in our upper hemisphere, between our two ears, which work, of course, to many of us, but some of us, they've gone on holiday. But if these brains are working well, they communicate with the other brains that are in the middle of your stomach. That is your hunger issues. And those of you who are erected in their tummies will make sure that they do everything for the purposes of having their stomachs full of food. I'm not embarrassed to say that our political system has an erection in their stomach. As of when they get into positions of power, all they think about is how can I make more for myself and fill up my stomach with food. But I think the most dangerous of them all is the erection below the legs, which then talks of morality, which then controls the other two erections on the upper hemisphere. So we cannot allow, therefore, our brains to be hanging between our legs. Many people are digging their graves with their own teeth in terms of what they eat. But I know a few people also are digging their graves with a tool that hangs between their legs, because they think everywhere where there is a hole is a place worth digging. So we may want to start defining what is it with this tool and what sort of erections must we erect for. It's embarrassing that many of us get erected towards women and get erected towards money and power, but we don't get erected towards land and things that really matter in this life, where we must guard them as private as our own morality and posterity and genitalia itself. Three things, to me, drive every man. First thing that drives men, if you want to see a man stand up and run, even at 1:30 in the night, say, come and collect some money. Come, the deal is ready. Come now and collect money. Even pastors and bishops will quit the meeting and say, please, gentlemen, excuse me. There is something very important that has come up. Why? Because when money is mentioned, a man knows that when money is in his hands, money builds in him some testosterone, money builds in him some hormones. Because with money comes, number two, comes power. And with power comes decisions. And many of us are what we are, in the homes where we are, in the jobs where we are, not because we like these jobs, not because we like these homes, not because we like these relationships, simply because they give us the money. The question I have for you is, if in the morning, tomorrow morning, you wake up with 10 million rand in your pocket, I just pray that Tito Mbowene's budget makes its way to some of our pockets. You wake up in the morning with 10 million in your pocket. I want to find out from you honestly, will you still be making the same decisions that you have made? I worked in the construction space for some few years. I've seen a man, when he received a contract from the government, those years of ECDP, a man received the 5 million rand contract. And in that order, a man will change his car, his house, and his wife immediately, because the amount of money that he now has cannot match with the decisions that he has made when he still did not have money. Shame to say, many of our black brothers did not even understand that the money they have is for the project itself. Immediately the money lands in his pocket. He converts the money into his personal account for his personal uses. So people are driven by money. And it's not just money. Money comes with its own spirit. Money comes with power. And power comes with decisions. When you have money, you can make a decision, and you make the decision that we want. The other day I was talking in a church gathering, and I said, I pity you guys as church members, because all of you are here because of poverty. Because the day you have money, you will not be in this same church. You are here because you are looking for a breakthrough. You are here because you are looking for money. So how about stopping going to church and go to look for the money itself? No, they want spiritual access to the physical resources that they want. Therefore, we know that churches don't keep money, but they're supposed to be giving us access to God, and then God gives us access to the money. I can say the same thing about politicians. There are politicians who are out there who have no interest with the people. They hate people with a passion. They hate poor people. No wonder when they make their money, they spend it in Senton, drinking moets and blazing, knocking their glasses of wine, 1925, 1945 wines and Shirazis and all sorts of expensive wines. When they go to the bushes in the villages in Soweto, they can only spend 80 rand to wash their car and chisanyama. And out of that, they still want a discount from a black brother. But they are not embarrassed when they spend 3, 5, 10, 15 times of the same amount on the things that don't matter at all. Therefore, money gives people decisions and choices. Many of us are where we are because we don't have the right money that we want. The day we have money, some of you are looking at me right now, we thank God for Corona. You were thinking of flying to Mauritius and start a new life there. Thinking of flying to America and Paris and build your own small little villa there, or follow your money to Virgin Islands, and where you have been hiding all the taxpayers' money in tax havens. So the real issue is that people come to do things for various reasons. And as a result, we do these things because we are looking for power. So money is number one, it drives men. Number two, power drives people. And when they are driven by power, then they find organizations that grant them that power. Some of us in this house, like myself, I was never a prefect in school. I was never a class monitor. I was never anything. And the first opportunity I have to become a counselor in a community, everyone stands up. Sit down. Everyone sits down. All of a sudden, powerful, with 2, 3 bodyguards on the left and on the right. And you feel some sense of importance. Are people there now before I can start talking? And man, you were nothing a few days ago before you became a comrade. So you moved into politics, not because you have any contribution to make, but you are looking for power. And now that you have power, the question is, what are you doing with it? So people are driven by money because money gives them access to choices and decisions. People are driven by power because it gives them authority over other people's things and other people's lives. Right now, political power, you simply make an announcement on radio and on TV, everyone stay at home. Here we are, all looking like prisoners in Section D. What are we going to do? Because there is political power. There is political power that is in conversation. And there's nothing you can do. The soldiers and policemen are outside. Stay in your place. And some people are dying for power. I'm saying so at a local level, but at an African level and at a global level, we must also understand they are politically erected people. They are economically erected people. Not for the purposes of procreating the world with good ideas, but for the purposes of prostituting the world with their own passions and their own excitements. Hence, you find all sorts of policies that are flying around the world. Not that they are interested in giving donor money to African countries, but their main intention is, how do I multiply my own selfish business and selfish ideas and populate the world with my own seed? Number 3, people are, men particularly, I'm talking to men. Men are driven by sex. Men are driven by sex. So if a woman right now calls you in the midst of lockdown, at I was 7, come through here before 9 or before 10. I am telling you, there are some men listening to me right now. You will make a plan. Come on, guys. Come on, we can wave at me if I'm saying the truth. You will make a plan. You will make a plan. You go to the police station and get a permit, make a plan, guys. Umama mdala usefile is in hospital, I must run and peek, and the rest of the drill, guys. But by sunset, some people will lose their heads, risk their lives, and run to meet up their sexual obligation. Now I know when a man says, I cannot do it, he's lying. He must just say, I don't feel sexually attracted to it. Because when you really want to do it, all other things can stop and budgets can be found. A boy with no money will pawn his shop, pawn his shoes, borrow money everywhere else. I think 6, he will be there at 6 o'clock. Why? Because something that is passionate to him is making a call. Why is it that men these days find it difficult to make good decisions? Because they are not emotionally attached to those decisions. They are not driven with the same passion which drives them for sex. So over and above money, over and above power, over and above sex, the question is, what does a man do when he has money? He changes his car, changes his house, and changes his girlfriend or changes his house. What does a man do when he has power? He either decides to abuse other people and extend and make sure that once he's in power, he does not lose that power again. That's why it is difficult for African leaders to give away power, because power to them means influence. And once you have tasted power, you become totally corrupt according to the laws of politics. Small power, small, corrupts small. Big power corrupts big. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you have people who have nothing to offer the people and the community, yet they are stuck in their political, powerful positions because they cannot share those positions. They take it as if their election to political position is a God-given right to abuse everybody else. And this is the erection of political power, which drives other people with small penises but big political power, that they can tell even those who have money and other masculinity issues where to get off the bus, because they have power which gives them influence to people. Sex, however, has become a collector of the graveyard. Sex has become a collector of the hospitals. Sex has become a tool that leads to disease and sickness, because the fact that there is a hole doesn't mean that you must enter. Some holes are death traps. It's good for a man, therefore, to look back and say, what must we do? We used to take 5-3 condoms and go and do mischief. I'm very happy for Corona. Now you need a jumping suit to go and meet your girlfriend, because if you kiss her, hell no, Corona is waiting for you. You need to now devise new plans of doing corruption, because now the disease we have is not only calling for health protection, it's calling for your moral character. Do you have what it takes to become morally upright and stand tall on decisions to protect the things that are important to you? So you can no longer buy 2 condoms. Stella, please pack here 3. You don't need that now. You need a swimming diving suit with gloves and masks. I saw another guy here who is sitting alone in the house with a mask on his face to protect himself from Corona. This is happening, but it's okay, guys. The situation now has become more complicated. We cannot be driven by passion. There is more to passion. Responsibility must come with it. And let's go back again and discuss what is a man, according to Maponga J. A man has 3 estates. The first estate is the estate of the mind. What is the quality of your thinking? The next estate is the estate between your legs. What quality of seed are you carrying between your legs? The next estate is the estate of the land. What sort of land do you have? I mean physical land. Therefore, it leads me to my statement, which will be quoted throughout the ceaseless ages of eternity. Every man must have 2 wives. And before you make your wife pregnant, you must make the land pregnant. The first wife is land. The second wife is the one that you sleep with. Before you can cultivate your wife, cultivate the land. Before you can learn how to look after your wife, you need to learn how to look after land. Before you can protect your wife, learn how to protect your land. Because without land, it is illegal to procreate and bring children into existence into spaces of poverty. Therefore, we need to start understanding that when a man has enough estate in his mind, the quality of his thoughts, he can now move to the middle land, which is the land of his reproduction. What sort of seed are you carrying in your cable? Therefore, man is a connecting cable. The generation that has gone past, that is your forefathers. That is your ancestors. Those that were born before you were born. Their genes, their fear, their traditions, their culture, their genius, their brains, their skin color, their intelligence, including even their emotions, are all cabled and caged in your loins. And as a man, before you start plugging your cable, you always want to make sure that the grounds where you are plugging your cable is fertile ground. Lest you plant your seed on the rocks and it never comes to nothing. Never reduce yourselves to sleeping with prostitutes. They will reduce you to a loaf of bread. A real man knows the value of his seed. And that is with every seed that he is transmitting, he is connecting himself and his past to the future that he cannot see. Therefore, when you hold that tool in your hand, you are holding history. You are holding a future. You are holding a legacy. Before you plug it in and you close your eyes when you are about to come, remember what is coming. Your forefathers and your ancestors are watching, and they are watching as your audience, wondering what is it that we are going to become through these connecting cables. It's a shame to say amongst many of us, our tools have become tools of mass destruction, where we run around with them like Saddam Hussein. We think weapons of mass destruction and nuclear warheads, whereas the worst tool of mass destruction is the one that hangs between your legs. I wish another day I can be given an opportunity to sit around with the young boys and take them to a school for circumcision. I would want to hold the tool of every boy in my hand. Before I cut it with a knife, I want to remind the boy that this will be your tool. This will be your connecting cable to build up another generation. Remember, every time you hold this thing, that it does not represent you. It represents the past and it represents the future. I want to see that boy the day he meets his girlfriend. When he holds it in his hand, what will be happening in his mind? Because what we have today is a messed up software in our thinking, so that we think that we are just made up of excitement. Shame on us. The entertainment we are eating, shame on us. The food we are eating, shame on us. The education we have received, shame on us. Because we have not been taught who we are and to respect the genes of who we are, so that we can respect the next person where we plant those genes and what they become and what they tend to become. Therefore, it must not become entertainment. Remember the word entertainment. You enter to attain. Is someone with me out there? You enter to attain. So entertainment, what are you entering into and what are you attaining out of this? Therefore, your cable cannot be used as a form of entertainment. With these two wives that you have, the custodian is you as a man. And I'm talking to real men, not some wimp men, some soft men who think that their masculinity is measured by the tool between their legs. A good man is not the one who gets a woman pregnant. A good man is not the one who helps a woman to take off her panty. A good man is the one who provides the soap for her to wash the panty after it has been messed up. That's a good man. The good man is the one who washes the panty of his wife. When the neighbors look at you, they'll say, "Bamtakatile." But the one who is intelligent, he's saying, "I'm just washing the lead that leads to the door of my inheritance." Because he knows that behind this door resides a history which belongs to him. Therefore, it's not embarrassing for you to wash your wife's panty, as you know what it covers. It covers the things that are of interest to you. But women, therefore, become the official door through which we all come into this existence. Therefore, we look at them not as women. We look at them as gods. Come on, someone out there. We look at them as gods. When a man wants to multiply himself, he cannot multiply himself with himself. He multiplies himself through a woman. And a woman recreates in her what belongs to him, which looks like him. Come on, guys. Can I have a witness out there? So when you look at a woman, you are looking at yourself in the future through her. You are looking at the channel through which you will become. Therefore, the issue of women abuse must be understood in the light. Therefore, that is not just a tool that is in your hand, which you may call a woman. It is actually part of you. Come on, guys. It's part of you that helps you to become, that preserves even the best part of you, which you may never see. And every time you look at your children and you see yourself, you must see the woman. What is the best gift any man can give a woman? It is to love their mother. How do you know that you love a woman? If your woman is next to you, look at her. How do you know that you love her? When you can see your children in her eyes. When you can see your children in her eyes, maybe some love is beginning to happen because you go there to access yourself. Erection, therefore, becomes the tool. Erection becomes the attraction. Erection becomes the motivation. Erection becomes the driver, the physical driver into the spiritual space. Is someone with me out there? Therefore, you have things that are in you. You have genes that are in you. You have stuff that is trapped in you. Unless you are excited enough between your legs, this stuff cannot come out of you. Therefore, every child is made out of excitement. Every child is made out of an erection. Every child is made out of a desire to be inside the other. Then what is it that causes men, after you've been in the other, you forget what you have become? Therefore, your children are not your children. Your children are you. Your children are you. And you are not you. You are your forefathers. You are your ancestors. Then what are you? You have become the joining cable between two civilizations. The past that I may not know. The future that I have now produced. And between them, the correct word for woman in Hebrew, gunaika, therefore speaks to us of the glue. In ancient words, they used to take the skins of the goats and they soak them up. That small little slimy paste that would come out of the goat, they would call that the glue. And that glue is the same word that is found for women. Therefore, women become the glue. The glue of what? Binding the children to their fathers, binding histories, joining generations, connecting legacies. And therefore, when you find yourself as a man with your cable that hangs in your hand, the question is not, is it erect? The question I want to ask you, when it has erected, what does it make? What does it make you? What does it become? Many of us have made wrong decisions out of erection. The conversation for this afternoon says, don't allow your erection to determine your direction. You cannot be driven by erection. Quote me on this one, hashtag, don't marry the woman you love. Marry the woman who loves you. For she will bind everything that you have to herself and to your future. Many of these girls that we think we love, we go to them and chase them for the rest of our lives to no avail. But the woman who loves you will make sure that you are connected to your history. Every time when you have an erection, remember it's not entertainment. You are connecting two histories, two futures, two genealogies. Let's respect our men during this time of lockdown. May it be well with us that while we're in our homes, there will be peace. Can we be connected physically? Can we be connected mentally? Can we be connected emotionally? May our finances be multiplied. May society have better men, because these men are disciplined. Let's not dig graves with our own tools, but let's build the next generation. Wherever your erection is pointing, that's where your direction is going. Determine that direction. Pursue that direction. Cultivate that direction. Shukran. Namastale. Until we meet you again. Maponga J, Farmers of Thought.
Oh, thank you very much, Maponga. Thank you very much. I wouldn't even be able to just recap other than to just simply open it up for people to clap you out. And thank you very much for sharing your wisdom so passionately and so authentically. And as I said, I was aware that you will share your views unapologetically as yourself, give us one way and another way of looking at ourselves. The next conversation is going to happen at 5 o'clock, where we'll be once again continuing our conversation. Catch us on all the social media channels. This conversation continues online. Can we, all of us, 175 of us, here at least on Zoom? A round of applause.